Whoops, the intro didn't work, so you're just left with me. Congratulations, welcome to the show. Let me know your ticker. There's the fax machine. It's on and working. I'll check out the charts. Bitcoin made a big move today. $1,000, 4-hour candle, 4.86%, I think, from the lows. You can see there's a rocky outcrop flash back there. This was to the measured move that we took from this formation previously. Price action here, we anticipated a break to the top side, and this being the fullness of that target back to and exceeding our previous high at a 1.272 extension. If this now is the peak, where we also had a rocky outcrop flash, the reason that we knew this was the target, you know, if you don't know, probably don't have the rocky outcrop flash, you should get it. www.patreon.com/rocky outcrop. This target here, 29,350. Rocky outcrop flash, 4-hour time frame. There it is, right? Quite a lot of lines to that. I talked about it a lot. And we made it, I say we, Bitcoin, it made it to that target. There's the horizontal reaching price action. If this does break, then you could easily use the extensions. The 1618's at 30,500, 2618's at 33,385. So these would be potential targets. You could also draw extensions from within this move itself and use your Fibonacci extension tool. You would be looking for confluence with those two targets or the 1414. Because you look down here and see the extension it made, 1.13 extension, the low to high, when it did that measured move that we took the trade from. Then, along with that being the potential return, should it fail to break above the target, might be looking at an expansion, similar level to the top side before, which terms as a retest, so it could all go on. If you did come back down again, the point I'd be looking at would be making confluence with these same Fibonacci's, looking in for something that matches up, 1.13, 1272, and then the 1.14. So anything back below 25,000 with this would be perhaps not a well-conceived trade from here. And so if you're worried about where does Bitcoin drop back down to, if it does collapse, or where's the next best entry, if it's coming back down, or what area are we looking to in about of a deep retracement, then you might be looking across to 26.3. And if that doesn't hold, 200 period moving average on the 4-hour is confluent with two Fibonacci targets where we got our move to the top side. So in around 25.6, 25.550, which is also an important level of resistance previously with these wicks and body closes on the impetus that took us into price action. So that probability would then be continuation of that same situation, right? So Bitcoin, that's obviously all of that is done on the futures market, but there's a lot of things I want to get into. One of them would be why Mara made a 14% move today. Bitcoin miner, 14% move, but if you look at the charts, it doesn't look like it's all out of order. Coming back up and testing these previous highs, that's not all that crazy. Meeting this downward sloping trend though, daily time frame, this is interesting. Get this guy up. Look through this, you had a retest and now you come back to your previous high. So if you exceed this level, the next target on the horizontals is in around 1567, which would be another 75%, having already done 14. Then if you exceed that, you aim up at around 19, spot 19, $32. That might happen. Why might that happen? 4-hour time frame, back above the center line, held it there on the retest, held the 200 period moving average as you were breaking out of this downward sloping formation. So super positive and looks good. I admire this because I've got a lot of different Bitcoin miner trades at the minute. And then you've done well on the 2-hour, 200 period moving average in the 1-hour. See, if you do hold inside the bullish control zone here, you've already made it to the previous peaks on price action, and that gives you the potential to boost way up, right? Strong moves. The momentum will continue. Price action's already then exceeding the previous resistance, and you'd be pushing to the next one. That's where the target coming in at around 1550. How you'd achieve it, maybe on the 30 minutes you're looking for signal. You know, you had an awful lot of impetus here, continuation divergence to the top side. If you define this as confirmation that we were going into an uptrend, double test here, bullish divergence, touching the bottom of the bearish control zone, and you break your previous high within this formation, also coming out of that downward sloping trend line. At that stage, perhaps you're thinking this is starting an uptrend, in which case these formations here, price action pulling back not so far, RSI so much further, potential continuation divergence to the top side, hidden bullish divergence, and that with the back of like us now in a non-argumentative position, we've orientated ourselves to be diplomatic with the RSI as it's so strong, and then as that such would be, you know, looking left there, you can see the retest of that area, so important. If you exceed it, there's very little, you know, it's also a confirmed level of previous support, you know, held it here once, twice, broke down resistance, 3 times resistance. It was an inflection point when breaking back above, support again, support again, support again, another inflection, it's the pivot point, and then on the recovery, another test. So risk is definitely on. If you were entering in at $3, then you're already at all of possible, conceivable, sensible take profit targets. If you break back above, then you've got this formation to look look to, if you wanted, you could take off. I would say it's probably, you could do both of these fibs, looking for confluence. 8.6, why it's already an interesting 0.13 extension here. Both of those targets are valid off this Fibonacci, and this one. It looks like it's potentially a positive move. Now, what does that mean? Well, if Mara's breaking up 75% and it's going to go through 100% move, then that gives you loads of opportunity for other potential Bitcoin miners, which haven't yet made as big a move. 9% today on GREE. This trade looking like it could be very positive with the bullish divergence, inverted head and shoulders, 4-hour time frame. You got an important inflection point there at 0.56. Managed to make it above there. It's already way below, obviously. 200 period moving average, 50% retracement, and coming in with a good value, higher low off a previous bottom, and price action come back up. Then you get huge moves potentially on GREE. Test the downward sloping trend line, 1618 extension, that'd be up around 2. And then if you do exceed it, the prior high within the formations at 450. And they're huge percentage moves compared to Mara, which itself has had positive news related specifically that company, but Bitcoin's breaking up. That was the lead of the show. Then in terms of percentage moves on Bitcoin miners, there's very little as attractive right now risk reward as any at 3.47 post market, already a little touch up afterwards because of the positivity we've seen in Mara and GREE with 9 and 14% today. It's the same industry. Any themselves have demonstrated a degree of corporate responsibility which is head and shoulders above what's expected of them, really distinguishing themselves from the previous board, and they're launching lawsuits against everybody they think that's acting unethically. They're reclaiming money from companies that went bust because they weren't run properly, and they're doing it all in the courts and making sure the whole industry benefits from their litigation, which is obviously to their own benefit from a PR perspective, but these sort of things are positive in the industry. And that company has been coming through a series of bad events, which it's come through. And with Bitcoin pushing to the top side, that's what generates their income. It's very easy to do the fundamental analysis. If that company manages to get any benefit to, and it needs to do something soon, or it's already got a delisting notice from NASDAQ with regards to the price dropping below $1. It got an extension on that, and there was circumstances that allowed for that. But now they have to make some sort of a move. And if Bitcoin's moving to the top side, that gives them a lot of flexibility. And this company's got an awful lot to run. If they're all lifting, a rising tide lifts all ships, shout out Rocket Outcrops Discord, then you're looking at this thing moving back its way back to its previous highs. If I just turn off the drawings, you can see where they are. Open tomorrow and test 3793. If the miners are all doing well, that's the next peak. That's where it'll go to. 37 is a big jump from 34. And if you're looking at the peak, 0.5, 0.5, that's very easy to round, target. And then there's Rocket Outcrop Flash, and this thing back at 0.948, which is where we know they need to take it. So if you break above 0.5, you come in, you test a previous level of support, which would likely be resistance on the first pass, but the next time you lost that area was on a gap. So if price action reaches 0.53 plus and then continues to the top side, having filled a gap, broken a previous resistance, no longer resistance, and it was previously support, that would be then considered to be a safe area for a potential retest. And then the immediate break of that area doesn't necessarily mean price needs to come back. That test isn't necessarily imminent. It's just in future an inflection point to look to, and the move would be on, right? And that would be another potential entry for some people. But from here, you get a lot more chocolate on your biscuit. So that is the main points I wanted to put across an introduction to the show. Thank you very much. If you got any value from that process, from the news, from any of the charts, or anything else, hit that like button. Thanks very much. If you want to support the show, links in the button, the screen. Smoke me a kipper. Thanks very much. What's the chat box saying? Shush, motorbikes. The two brothers, eggs were amazing. Yo, thanks. Did you see the eggs? I haven't got them here, obviously. If you're on the Discord, we had the egg painting competition for Easter. It was last night. Amazing submissions from everybody. The Nicolas Cageless eggs from CC. Brilliant. Gold-plated eggs from Bulldog. Sarah Herrera had a really nice, messy Easter egg. Some fantastic efforts. Squirrel, there was loads. I would miss people out if I tried to name everybody, so I won't. I'll instead say my egg was fantastic and you should vote for it. The winners will be chosen by you guys on Rocket Outcrops community page. You'll launch a poll, an image poll with all the different eggs that made it to the final. And then you guys pick the winner. It's pretty fun. The eggs were nice. Afterwards, funny fun experience. Pretty good tradition. I think we should keep it up every Easter on Discord. So get involved with stuff like that more on the Discord if you want. What else? There's also now excellent stuff coming on Discord. Rocky's got big plans considering, trying to make it as good as he can considering his health and whatnot. Brave plans. And other things in the work. Deviled eggs. Yo, Lady Kim. Giddy. In it, Kim? Yo. Good to see you. Eggs were brilliant. Yo, there's Rocky there. Shout out Rocky. Check out his channel. Check out his indicators. Join him on Patreon. Do yourself a favor. Accelerate your progression as a trader. It's all well and good learning alongside Rocky and me, but really if you engage with those services that he offers to improve your trading, you will find an acceleration to your own process, however fast you're going. I love deviled eggs. Excellent choice. This is a very American thing, these deviled eggs, aren't they? Get that impression from watching the movies where they talk about it, except they don't do it over here in real life, because over here is in real life. America is the movies. Woohoo! Vile, says KT. ISD. Some people love them, some people not so much. Bling! Good to see you, Dad. JCCCPD, that's my brilliant dad. How are you doing today? No, I don't know. My question exactly, nowadays. Yeah, what's nowadays like, eh? What's the world coming at? Lisa, your eggs were unfairly gorgeous and stunning. Yeah, Lisa had a batch of them. So did Slow Learner. Lisa might have won, to be honest. There was nice egg accessories around. I say accessories, more it was like the environmental aspects to the photo. Mind you, Katie did point out the dramatic lighting, the grand piano. It did add an extra touch of quality to Rocky's and mine's. 29k flash. So the previous two flashes were not interrupted. The price went to those areas and then moved away from them significantly, whereas this price that Bitcoin is now is the interrupted flash. Yes. Interrupted flash. I've got a cool experiment on a ticker at the minute. I've done it a couple of times. Like I've got a strategy. We're all ourselves love using if you're on the flash, you'll know what, right? So I'll just talk to you. Everybody else, you can get the flash and then you can join in these conversations. So it's great when we share each other's strategies and talk about how to improve them, because when you've got an indicator that tells you what the price is going to at some point in the future, that's the hard part of trading. And people who trade for a while can know that, obviously, conceptualize. It's not about time, it's about where it's going in the direction. And you can work out the direction from knowing where it's going eventually, especially if you've got multiple flashes, right? Because the flash indicator, if you don't know, you won't know, but the one who does know, it gives you multiple flashes and that. So you can target them above and below and whatever, depending on the trend and whatnot. And the way to make the most money, because the way we do it is we all want to get rich trading. It's nice to be able to do it forever, but we'd rather also get rich at the front end of all that. So you want to use the flash, and then, so like I'm saying, speaking of people who've got it, so like more people share how you use it with me, and I'll share how I use it more with you. But this one experiment I'm doing at the minute is when you get an interrupted flash, either above or below price, and then you've got a non-interrupted flash on the other side of price action. Yo. Thank you. Jamie, go any. Woohoo! Ziggly viggly gig vig. Thank you very much. $10 as well. It's really appreciated. Thanks so much. Can't do the stream without support like that. So every time it happens, it really is appreciated. Thanks so much. People like yourself, really, really, really appreciate. Angels, keeping the show going. Thanks very much. Yes. And I keep them too, Keep them. This is all of last week. And, well, no! And this week has been added in. So you can't see it. Can you see it? There you are. So, what was I talking about? Can't mind. Yeah, the flashes. Oh, the flash strategy I've got at the minute is bloody brilliant, right? So I watched it happen several times. I mean, several's not enough. A number of dozen times I've watched it happen and thought to myself, maybe, I'll just watch it again. And every time, it's actually 8 times that I've looked at it. And it's every single time this happens, it happens exactly the way I do it at the minute. Or I've been watching. So now I've tried Took, and the last time I saw it was on a SPY trade. I talked about it on Discord there, SPX. And there was a harmonic on at the same time, so it was a super easy trade. And it was a 7-1. Put in $1,000, you got 7. I know that because I did that. And then this is another version of the same thing on a different ticker. I'm trying it again, and it's a slightly different, slightly bigger trade, but then there's a bigger distance between the top side and bottom side flash on the thing. So you know, the timing of the move will be difficult, slightly difficult to do, compared to that previous one, which was like 0-day expiry contract, and I was trading it on the 30-minute chart, and it was like the end of the day, this is going to happen. It was a Friday, and it was like stupid amounts of profit potential in the contract. So this one's slightly different, but again, it's still something like 720% if it all goes right. It's just like, yeah. See, when I get this thing down, my goodness, shared the strategy properly with everybody. You're going to love it so much. Oh my God, oh my God. Anywho, so this is what it's all about, you know, this sort of thing. Any there on the chart, right? If it does make the same huge moves we were talking about on the other things, you know, the target on this is 0.94. We've talked about that. Currently trading at 0.3. That's a 300% trade if things go to the top side. And like, it's not a question of watching just exclusively that chart on the 4-hour time frame, though that would be one way of doing that. You can also add to it with all of the where Bitcoin's going, what its brothers and sisters of this company are up to. I say that, but you know, companies in the same sector, and then look to the news. But Bitcoin moving above 30,000, you know. Did we talk about the next targets on Bitcoin? So that's that. That's quite interesting, I think. Anyone in the chat looking at charts? Yeah, what charts are you looking at? If you are, you'll never catch me alive. Sarah. There should be a show about Sarah that's like Postman Pat, but Sarah. GME keeps referencing Rocky's Flash for good reason. If you're not part of this process and the courage, then you are missing out on a brilliant opportunity on the course. Get the courage, take the course. Only Jamie's at the moment, Merrick. Only Jamie's what? Whoop up! Only Jamie's amazing smile does it for me right now. Anyone in the chat looking at charts? Only Jamie's. Oh, this. Right, yeah, this. So, I mean, you want to look at the rest of my charts, do you? What do you want to look at? I mean, we can talk about things. AMC did the rest of it. Space, 9.8%. See, we said it would come lower than the previous low. It did. After that, we talked about potential bounce. So I got drawings for this guy. Boeing. Yeah, so previous low, basis line, did all right in there considering, but the low side of this is probably where it goes, especially if it doesn't manage to recover 50% of that guy, which it hasn't done yet, despite the fact it went beyond its previous low. I mean, you could do the 236 from that ultimate high and see this guy. It's the point I'll be making. You're already back testing it, but you've not exceeded it. You know, I wouldn't be getting excited despite the 10%. GREE made the move. AMC, 6.9%. Turn it off the drawing so I can actually see where it is. Well, following through so far. Top side of this box. Let's move that way. Once you break up above the previous 382, I've gone through and held the 236. That would be strong. Body closes, exceeded them. Close the gap. So you close the gap and continue. That's important. That's why you drew this box. This would be the area beyond the gap you'd go to. You've had the move that formation looks like it would give you. Haven't left a gap below, and you've closed the previous one, haven't exceeded the previous high, and you've got a 200 period moving average, and really important horizontal at 550 and 537 is a high today. I wouldn't call that a rejection, but if price action does start slipping back down again, especially if it loses 4.85, then I'd be looking at this thing coming down, filling its previous gap, testing in at around 4.06. If it breaks above 5, whatever that was, we said, what was it? 550, just easy. Then you'll be looking at a golden pocket retracement and this thing testing a 236 of the downward sloping fib in at around 655. And that's the reason we draw this. It also matches the downward sloping top side of, if we go to 2-day, make it pretty obvious, downward sloping channel here, which would be targeting the top side of a downward sloping trend. And if you're talking about the same thing on GameStop then, which, you know, let's face it, people should fax me if they want to have a look at my GameStop technical analysis at this stage of the game. Here it is. 236 needs to exceed that in at around 2250. Post market, not much happening yet. Do stop saying that, or I'll give the game away when I anticipate and how I anticipate the next move and happen a little bit too much. Right, so 2230, you're sure 382, you held that at 2189. I'd say you wouldn't drip below it, but whatever. Recovering the 236 on this is, like I say, 2250, and then, you know, back from holding the previous 236 on the low. Is that a speculative move, or is this the low to the high? That's the low to the high. Okay, good. So the 236, there you're really looking at break on this 2373, after which stage you'd look to continuation on a potential bullish breakout, which would be looking for the same targets on AMC. Well, I mean, no, that's an absurd statement. And I've never said, and never will say, and never believe anyone if they tell you the different to this. I've never said these two stocks are the same. I've explicitly and categorically said the opposite on every occasion, to the point where I've involved and interjected my own discourse to make this point repeatedly, and have get extreme deja vu doing it and repetitive feelings. But I know it's responsible, and also I've had to do it in order to fight a mischaracterization of my message, which is that you can trade whatever the flying fuck you feel like, and nobody is ever going to tell you what to do, right? That's my opinion, my feeling. I express it really clearly, and elitists from both sides of the fence get upset about things because they're ideological traders, which is also why they're so shit at it, right? So price action here, you want it to get back above 23.73, and then things get exciting. Target is the downward sloping resistance, and like I say, AMC and GME, if they move and reach, they're both equivalent resistance points, then GME would be going to 27, 28 bucks, which is that target we talked about for a while. And if you see Bitcoin making these moves and reaching their full extension of targets and putting in bullish moves, and them being strongly risk on assets, especially when you see it across the futures and SPY holding support, then that's a risk on asset making a move. Typically they would do that ahead of those assets that are less risky if they're going in the same direction. Love you, Dad. Love you too, Dad. What did he say? That's awesome. I have been a Bitcoin holder for much too long. Thanks to Rocky's Flash and Jamie's streams, I am in a happier place. He is, and he's freaking killing it, you know? And a lot of people like my dad, who've got extreme ADHD, and who, you know, you might think, oh, you personally, if you were my dad's age, you might think like, oh, it's hard to learn new tricks, or, you know, I've learned so much already and done so much of that in my life that maybe now I deserve a bit of a not that for a change. And yet, and also he's got, you know, like everybody, things that make it not perfect ideal circumstances. And he still did that, and he's now got to the stage where I'm really confident in how my dad trades, really confident. It's super positive, you know, it's brilliant from where, you know, a lot of people can't. You know, to be confident in your own trading is a huge watershed moment. It's like all of those, you know, when you realize that you can trade profitably, it's a huge, big relief. And it does come like that, like a feeling of relief. Like, it's not like a prize, but yet it's not anticlimactic the way all prizes are. It's just a big relief when you realize. And then when there's other people who are also like following your methods, who themselves you can then say you feel confident they can trade profitably. That's just like brilliant. And then when it's your own dad, you know, that's a bonus. Especially when things are expensive. The original legend. Yes, wow. Daddy, come and sing for us one day. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a really good idea. We should totally do that. Maybe we could combine it with some new old themes from the channel. Let's see what we can do. VUZI? You want to look at some VUZI? VUZI. So they made it back to that area. Bang, positive. Exceeding your previous high. Post-market. Not bad. Not terrible. Pushing back above there is great, and with the little bit of a retracement post-market, maybe it doesn't look like it's going to gap up. Is that bad? No, 1 hour back above your 200 period moving average. This might be on, you know. This might be on with the bullish divergence between these two lows, and if it exceeds the previous high, it's gone through the 200 period moving average, and it's well exceeded at 50% and back up there. 2 hours, oh, that 200 to aim for, 400 all around this peak. And if you did break it, go 20% on that 2-day time frame. Resistance back up around there. It doesn't change. So I suppose you'd be looking at it on the 4 hour and saying it's back above the center line RSI. It's not yet exceeding the 200 period moving average. And testing that level though would take us to a horizontal level where you would anticipate price action going when it's in this direction, up at around 4.30. So another 13/18 cents, depending on where you're looking at it, post-market or close. And that's not really doing anything spectacular. I mean, I've not got the drawings on, but I perhaps have drawn this on. What did I just draw there? Oh, I've done that before and I don't like that tool. Right, so you could be looking at this as a channel. You could be looking at that oscillation coming into that 4-hour 200 period moving average. 1 hour back above the basis line, 200 period moving average is where? Suppose then if you're looking at pullback there at 3.91, that would catch the trend, that would catch a lot of people's stop losses, close the gap, catch everybody out with a slightly lower low than this previous guy, but not be back down testing the lows at 377, hold this channel and then break to the top side. That'd be super positive if you tested that 200 period moving average on the 1 hour. You may then head in the meantime to test this 400 period moving average at 4.34. Price action maintaining within this channel wouldn't be all that exciting until such time as you exceed those levels. And then you could even use that for support if you don't break out of this channel in advance of that horizontal being broken. Then I'd anticipate it as resistance. Should you do so, then I'd anticipate it as support. You know what I'm saying, yo? You manage your risk when it breaks above that 200 on that time frame. Or if you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit, you do the same thing, bottom side of that channel, marking off the prior low. Boom. What about that? You know? Right, so it's a Monday. That was really good value. That, you know, I tried to cover all the things I saw in the chat box. Nobody needed to donate to get any TA. It's a Monday, so that's very positive start to the week for everybody watching along. Great show in terms of delivering value. Rocky was in the chat box. Rocky, big shout out to Rocky, who helped me so much today with thoughts about what we're going to do going forward. So exciting, interesting thoughts. Chatting with him about things that I could be doing. Really positive things coming on the channel. Thanks for Rocky's help. Tradespot, thanks for you're welcome, KT. Thanks for being here and always being so very good supporter of me. Well, just get together in the summer, hang out, and you'll feel like a spring chicken again, Lady Kim. Yeah, Kim. Stop it, silly Kim. You're young. You're really young. You know? You're really young. So I was looking at the pension age. You know, they're going to increase the pension, the working age. You need to keep working to get your pension in Britain and France and Greece and everywhere else that they've been mismanaging the economy. It's not because it's actually a good idea to make people work to the death, because they get lower and lower productivity levels anyway. It's because we don't want to have to fund their retirement yet. And if we can delay that, it saves loads of money because they'll likely die. And so you look at those, I mean, I say this is the people in all of these countries that we vote for. We all lack a degree of humanity. We can't get around every day if we were to acknowledge all the pain that our lives cause all across the world, the butterfly effect and everything, all the tragedy of capitalism, which can't regulate itself. Don't be silly. 21st century, you know, we need to do it. And do we not all the time? Do we recycle? Not properly. Does it end up at our door? Probably not. So a lot of problems there, a lot of problems. Can't remember where I initially started talking, but yeah, I was looking at these pension things and the government were like, well, we're going to make them work till they're, 485, aren't we? And then the scientist boffins came back and they said, yo, look, we saw your Tradespotting video about the Human Development Index and how it dropped for the first time in the human history. Humans had got worse off financially and with regards to their lifespan, right? The average lifespan of a human has always been going up since we started measuring it. Always until 2 years ago when it started dropping. People are dying sooner now. Our lives are getting shorter. And so it's not ethical for the government to keep raising the working age before they start giving people a pension. Because the whole world collectively is doing so bad that we're dying sooner. Thanks for watching Tradespot.